Hey guys, it's Greg. We're by the Bootstraps, btbootstraps.com. Check out the store, check out social media. Links will be below. Want to make a quick video today regarding the story about this 7-year-old kid down in Texas whose mother is trying to make this child transition into a girl. Kid's name is James Younger. His mother divorced. Apparently there's two twins, there's James and Jude, and both boys. And the mother, who is a pediatrician, which I would never bring my kid to that woman, has decided that at the age of 3, that this 7-year-old, well at the time 3-year-old kid, was gender confused. And the reason for this is because the kid at 3 was being dressed in dresses and wearing makeup and playing with dolls and stuff like that. Now, I don't know how advanced your 3-year-old kids are, if you have a 3-year-old kid, but when my daughter was 3 years old, she didn't really get to pick out the clothes that she wore, nor did she dress herself. That was accomplished by myself or her mother at the time. So I don't quite understand that aspect of the story, outside of maybe a certain someone, mom, was maybe suggesting to the child that, hey, you should wear this. Don't you like this? Do you want makeup? Which there's nothing wrong with that if you're a kid. I mean, I know some people might say that's a little weird or that's a little strange. However, I don't think the child at that particular point in life cared or thought one way or the other. It makes me think about when I was a kid. You know, I grew up with Transformers, G.I. Joes, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and things like that. You know, the action figures per se. But that's when I was at my house, around my stuff. If I were to go to, say, one of my mom's friends, and they had girls there, which I can think of one friend in particular where they had 2 little girls there at the time, I played with whatever they had. You know, I would play with whatever was available to me. You know, they didn't have that. They had Barbie dolls and tea sets and, you know, stuffed animals and things like that, dress up. And so when I was, 3 or 4 or 5, maybe even 6 and 7, I mean, honestly, I don't even remember this point, it's been so long ago. But at that point in time, I would play with whatever was available to me because that was what was available to me. It didn't mean I was gender confused or that I wanted to be a little, a little girl, So then you take that, right? The kid's now 7 years old and the mom is still fighting that, the mom actually wants to go and give this child puberty blockers, and hormone therapy at 7, right? And the reasoning is because the kid, he finds one of his favorite characters that he identifies with or he wants to be when he grows up is Starfire, which I don't know if you guys know who Starfire is, but apparently that's a comic book Teen Titans animation character, right? And I've seen like the Teen Titans Go, and I've seen like the Teen Titans, the old cartoon and stuff like that. If I were a kid looking at that with the animation style and how zany and how it pops and all the interactions, I mean, yeah, why wouldn't you want to be the character flies and, well, I'm speaking of my ass here because I really don't know what abilities this character has, but I know I've seen the show a couple times and I know that she does have like certain abilities that the other characters don't have. So maybe he just identifies with that character as being cool or colorful, or he likes the voice actor in that, and doesn't realize like he's maybe not connecting. Again, 7. And I keep emphasizing this because I think it needs to be said over and over and over again. This kid is 7 years old, and you want to forcibly, or they, being this mom, and apparently the jury and the judge who agreed with her initially, granted her sole custody, wanted to give this kid forcibly, to transition to a gender that he wasn't born naturally at. And people say, why do you care? Well, because that's very alarming that you would have a judge get involved in a situation like that, or just the fact that this is even a thing. One judge, I saw in the news that thankfully another judge has come out and said, no, these kind of decisions need to be made jointly between both parents. So they still share like a custodial relationship. I find it interesting that at 7 years old, they're going to allow this kid to make a life-altering decision that has God knows what kind of ramifications when you do something like this to your body. You know, I know that when you're an older adult, I mean, there's been negative side effects and consequences to people who have transitioned from one gender to the next gender, and vice versa. There's also been several incidents where they have transitioned and then later on transitioned back because they realized my body wasn't made for this. I mean, anytime you had to inject hormone substitutes, testosterone shots, and things like that, it's not natural for your body if you're born with a different set of chromosomes. Now, I find this interesting because they're going to allow this 7-year-old kid make, or what it seems like, kind of coerced into making this life-altering decisions. And at 7 years old, apparently, that's perfectly suitable and fine to expect that this child knows the consequences of their decisions. And yet, when I was asking for custody of my child, or was asking for if my daughter, at what age could my daughter make the decision to where if she wanted to live with me, that would be acceptable to the court to where we could file a petition to do so. And I was told this by lawyers and mediators that, oh, that's kind of a touchy subject. They're going to want to make sure that the child is mature enough mentally to be able to make a decision like that. So you're looking at ages 14 to 16 before a teenager can make that decision. So my child, who may know off the top of her head which parent she wants to live with indefinitely, can't make that decision and won't be accepted by the court because she's not mature enough to know the situation that she's in. But yet, this 7-year-old kid who has no idea about consequences of actions is being coerced into making a life-altering decision, and the court's fine with that. Yeah, I'm gonna go on a limb and say that's agenda-driven, just a wee bit, just saying. Thankfully, like I said, a judge did come in and he did put a block to that so far. The dad, he was seeking for full custody of both his children, which, again, quite frankly, if you have a mother who is forcing this kind of decision, that woman should not be a mother. And I'll be honest with you, she's a pediatrician. I would seriously look at what could be done to pull her license. Because if you're willing to do this to your child, what the hell would you be willing to do with someone else's child? I mean, last time I checked, a pediatrician is not a psychologist. She doesn't know the ramifications that could be done, unintended consequences from doing this to her own child. Anyway, it's an interesting story. I'll be following this. Maybe we'll make another video on it. It all kind of depends on what they do. If you like it, great, wonderful, subscribe. If you don't like it, then it's just my opinion. I'll talk to you guys later.